So to introduce this, I just wanted to share recent statistics from the Local Consumer Review Survey by Bright Local stated 94% of consumers are open to leaving reviews, yet only 69% of them actually follow through in leaving the review. That is a high percentage of people that are willing to but then don't. And this statistic is especially impactful for locally owned restaurants who are battling to establish themselves amongst competition of chain and franchise restaurants. So for a little background context, our team actually met in college working on a project that was based on improving our community and ways that we could help. And from that project, we were inspired to create 5 Star Fix Consulting Company. And with this company, our mission is to help restaurants, especially locally owned restaurants in the Atlanta area, achieve 5-star customer experiences and improve communication enhancements with the customers. And with all of this, we understand how important ratings and reviews are for good business. So we hope to ease the situations and help as much as we can. So for a little bit more about me, my name is Anna Myers, and I work alongside our team by connecting with our clients to ensure that they are on board with all of our communication methods, and as well as introducing possible new approaches for the future based on the ratings and reviews that we go through. And in my personal experience as a customer and someone who has worked in the industry, I know that most of the recommendations made from customers are based on great experiences, or if mistakes were made, which mistakes are inevitable, it's how those mistakes were accommodated for or fixed that the customers remember the most. And as the client, your success as a restaurant is based on the experience of your customers. With new technology like AI, it is easier than ever for someone to find bad reviews, and that is why it's essential for you to boost your business with better reviews and connecting with your customers. Running a restaurant is no easy feat, especially with the added pressure of the ease of online ratings and reviews. That is why 5 Star Fix is here to accommodate and help you in any way we can to communicate. So while you're busy running your restaurant, we are here to support you with our expertise in rating, reviews, and methods of communication. The restaurant that I reviewed is Grits Brunch Bar, located in Douglasville, Georgia, on Church Street, and is a brunch-style restaurant, based on the name, offering a fun southern twist on the classic brunch staples that we are all familiar with. And some of the main popular menu items were the salmon croquettes, hopefully I said that right, and the eggs, seafood omelet, and shrimp and grits. These are all seafood related, but they were top picks of all the menu items. Alongside that, they also offer drinks. So drinks include typical brunch style drinks like mimosas, sangria, tropical storm cocktails, and some of the main competitors are actually really close in relative location, include High Noon Brunchery and Tea's Brunch Bar. And as I said, they're in the same general area and they're brunch menu style places. But the difference is the atmosphere, the menu specialty items, the dietary options. They are just like different vibes, but they do offer brunch too. Through my research of these ratings and reviews, I have looked on TripAdvisor and Google reviews, etc. And many reviews highlighted great customer service. And this includes the one that I have in the slide right now, which states the food and service was outstanding, I mean, the food is really, really good. Interesting food choices. Our waitress Carmen was really nice, personable, coming back for sure. Highly recommend Grit's Brunch Bar. This is a great review, and I do like that it highlighted the name of the waitress and the coming back for sure, because it's just like showing how good a good review can be for business. But however, on the other side of this, there was another one. This one was TripAdvisor. The other one I saw was on Google reviews, stating someone that had dietary restrictions, and I think they were gluten-free. They could not eat here safely because there was no rules or like restrictions based on cooking and how meals were prepped for gluten-free only people. So that was concerning and something to think about. Another subject of strength and weakness that I noticed multiple times in my reviews were the multiple customers stating that they enjoyed the lively atmosphere, the fun music, the environment. It was just like a nice environment, and music does have a very high impact on the atmosphere of a restaurant. Unfortunately, it's hard to please everyone with music because it's just so biased. I mean, everyone has different tastes in music. So there was another review. Actually, there was multiple other reviews stating, for example, this one, it states the music was extremely loud at times, the lyrics were inappropriate, and this person says, I think it was a one and done for Sunday brunch. And I could see how that would be concerning for business, because it's not okay to have explicit music playing in such a public restaurant. It's okay to set a vibe specifically that you want, but when it's too loud or when it's explicit and inappropriate, it just makes it less publicly accommodating. Continuing my discussion about strengths and weaknesses, I noticed many customers praising many of the staple menu items and loving the originality of it and the southern mix style of these brunch items. However, there were multiple reviews discussing on TripAdvisor and Google and other review places, mentioning that the portions or the prices of the foods, or how like someone has returned and it wasn't the same, inconsistencies with the food were issues mentioned that could be addressed. So following those strengths and weaknesses comes opportunities and recommendations available. So with the food comments I mentioned before, implementing a more rigorous double checking system for meals to ensure accuracy, whether they are dine-in, carry-out, or delivery meals, is essential for a good customer experience. And it's important to remember that like offering takeout and delivery services can expand your business, but it also requires a more thoughtful evaluation of how the food is boxed and like how the quality is when it's delivered somewhere and like the time it takes to get there. So it is just important to consider those factors. So continuing with the conversation of opportunities and recommendations, there were the comments about the gluten-free not being provided, so offering more dietary friendly options could possibly bring new customers in and offer like friends making recommendations for their gluten-free friends able to come to the same place. It's important. Inclusive menu items support inclusive communities. So this is just important to keep in mind, and it doesn't have to be a bunch of items, just enough to offer something for those customers. And furthermore, with these opportunities and recommendations, Encouraging customers to leave reviews of their experience can boost positive reviews. So, like I started with the statistic, how there's a high percentage of people that say that they will leave a review, but only about 60 something percent of them actually follow through. So, encouraging them to do that, leave a review, whether it's good or bad, is good for business overall because you are learning something from this experience. And a way to do this is providing things such as a QR code at the table or in the window of the restaurant to support immediate action from customers rather than them having to look it up and start typing a review and like have to think about which app to use or which website to use. It just makes it easier because it's an immediate response. So things that I think should require immediate action that are threatening business are that across all review platforms that I looked through, none of the reviews were addressed by the owners or the actual Grits Brunch Bar restaurant, which discourages customers due to lack of concern for the restaurant, from the restaurant. I mean, when you have an issue and you want to bring it to the restaurant and you make a review to state it and leave it there and it's never addressed, it discourages customers, the customer that left the review, but also future customers that could see that review and think, oh, that's weird, no one addressed this. I wonder what's going on with that. And my recommendation for this is to respond to reviews. And I think addressing them, even when they are possibly not true or they don't reflect your business, is important because it shows the priority of customer communication. So continuing the discussion about threats and recommendations, mistakes are inevitable, but how those mistakes are addressed is important. So, providing accommodations to customers that had bad experiences or something happened could be what helps them return and try again. Because some people have bad experiences and then they say they're going to swear off a restaurant or tell people not to go there. We don't want that. We would rather have someone, if they have an issue, address it immediately, especially when they leave a review. It can be addressed immediately. So accommodations include replacing meals, which is more of an immediate action, like in restaurant, or providing complimentary items, or discounting the bill. These are all important steps that you could take as a restaurant to provide the essential customer service required. And one of the last ones I stated is music can be considered a strategic tool to curate a certain restaurant ambiance. However, it is helpful to create a neutral playlist to prevent comments or concerns regarding the music. So I was already discussing this earlier, but this was a really important one because there was so many reviews stating how loud the music was in a bad way. So it's important to consider this is something that can be immediately acted upon. And it's also important to embrace the culture of the restaurant. Yes, but being appropriate to the public is also important for continuing customers to come through. And so my recommendation was to play music at an appropriate volume, and trying to avoid explicit content will most likely prevent complaints. And not everyone's going to like all of the same music, so it's difficult to establish what kind of music to play. But I did say most radio stations can provide music that is readily available to play, because going through and making an entire playlist and making sure it's long enough for the whole day of the restaurant, it's just difficult to do. So it's easier to just find a radio station that plays music that you were trying to go for the ambiance, and most of the time the music on the radio is appropriate for the public. In conclusion, managing your restaurant's ratings and reviews can make the difference in a customer deciding whether to go or return to your restaurant. And keeping up with these reviews, usually on a daily basis, is ideal to ensure immediate action is taken and to ensure priority for customer satisfaction. This is essential for locally owned restaurants because they have an advantage to be available to connect to customers and actually take what the customers are saying constructively and continue to grow from it and learn from it. And I have thoroughly enjoyed this research, and I do think the Grits Brunch Bar is a great restaurant that's doing very well, but there was just a few things that they could work on, and running a restaurant is no easy feat, like I said earlier. So 5-Star Fix Company would be here to help and ease the process of this. And I think implementing ongoing communication efforts with their customers is what will be appropriate to help them continue to discover new approaches moving forward and just learn from mistakes. Because everyone makes mistakes, it's okay. But it's how we move forward with those mistakes and learn from them. That's what is important. Alright, here I have provided contact information. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you for your time. I hope you have a great day.